What up, YouTube? What up, fam? Poppin'.
Phoenix, 90.7 FM in the East Valley, and online at Listen, the number 2, KRDP.com, a service of Desert Soul Media. KRDP is a new community radio station serving the East Valley on 90.7
Hey y'all, it's Dwayne.
and the rest of
Keep
the
1 million
community
show.
online at our website. Listen, the number 2,
NFL is back.
KRDP.com.
Yep, Hall of Fame gang.
Hall of Fame game. Jets, Browns. You know, talk about the fight. Talk about a lot of stuff. So need y'all to like and share.
With a sustaining monthly donation, you can donate right now at our website by going to listen, the number 2, KRDP.com, and click on donate. Your financial support is graciously appreciated.
Views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of Desert Soul Media and its board of directors. Thank you for listening.
This week on the Keep 1 Million show, we've all been waiting for this day. The NFL is back. Jets, Browns, the Hall of Fame game. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to get into Earl Spence Jr., Bud Crawford. It wasn't even a fight, as Bud Crawford TKOs Earl Spence Jr. We're going to talk about the fight and what's next for both opponents. We're going to get into NCAA has a bit of a realignment problem as conferences are poaching the Pac-12. Will the Pac-12 survive, and what will college sports look like in the next 2 to 5 years? We're going to talk about that and everything in between the past week of the sports world and beyond. So keep it locked right here on the Keep 1 Million show.
Say you're a 1.
Yep, Mike 1. Yep, we're gonna get into some good stuff, y'all, man. Finally, the sports drought has ended. Some football starting, even though it's preseason. Interesting topics. So stay tuned. Stay tuned in the next coming weeks as well.
Oh, wait a minute. Hey, let's switch. This one's yours right here. Come on. You're good? You hear it?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. All right. Okay. Hey, what was the round? He knocked him out at 9th or 10th round?
I don't know. It was that was the 7th.
The 7th round?
Yeah, you
Hold on.
can check it real quick. I think it's the 7th though.
Come on, 22nd.
Yes, we've been waiting for a long, long time. We've been waiting for a long time. But we ain't gonna wait no more. We're getting ready to rock and roll. We're gonna 1, 2, 3, 4.
And we're back. Keep 1 Million Show. I'm Dwayne.
Sean P.
And it is August 3rd, 2020. And this past weekend, the fight of the year, Spence versus Crawford, and I gotta say it was not the fight of the year.
Nah, it wasn't the fight of the year at all.
As
Not at all.
as Crawford controlled the fight, the whole fight. Maybe lost the first round.
Yeah.
It was a TKO in the 9th round, actually.
Ninth. Okay.
Yeah, and he had a devastating jab that started out, most of the fight.
Mm-hmm.
Spence couldn't get going. He couldn't, push the issue. You know what I mean? He couldn't. I don't know what was the issue with Spence. Like, what do you think happened?
What happened was Crawford. I had to relook at the fight because when I watch a fight, the first time it's like most go, I'm like, oh, I'm all into it, and then I watch it the second time and I look at it. What happened was you had a really great young fighter in there who can do many things, and you had a really extremely good fighter that was made to look one-dimensional pretty much. Terrence Crawford took away Earl Spence's jab, and once he took the jab away, he controlled the fight. And Spence couldn't get going. He just couldn't get going, and he was getting lit up. And what Crawford did in that fight was he showed you a whole lot of different styles. He showed you the southpaw style. He showed you orthodox. He even showed you counterpunching. I mean, his punches were so precise.
Right.
I mean, this is the reason why Sean Porter's father, Kenny Porter, KP,
Yeah.
stopped the fight. because he went when Sean Porter went down that second time. He said, "No, stop it," because Terrence Crawford was figured him out and was perfection and precision, and that's what happened with Spence. So
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, it really looked that way. He was chirping with the crowd. Crawford was. That's how locked in he was, where he could chirp with the crowd. And I mean, after the knockdown, Spence was knocked down 3 times.
yeah,
The second, and then once in the, I think in the 7th or 8th, and then another in the 9th round, was the TKO. It seems like, I'm not saying that Spence was over his head, because he was an undefeated champion, beating fighters, top fighters as well. But it just seemed like it was a totally different level of fighting. Spence versus Crawford. It seemed like, I don't want to disrespect Spence because he's a great fighter, but it seemed like he wasn't supposed to be in that ring.
not at all.
I mean, it was just a totally different level of boxing that we've seen from Crawford that Spence just doesn't possess. It seems like he's a puncher, not a boxer.
Yeah, what you saw, it just exposed Sprint. Excuse me, it exposed Spence. It exposed him. So what he can do, and a lot of great fighters go through this. What he can do is just go back to the lab. What he has to do is go back to the lab, look at the film, and work on everything that went wrong. And I guarantee you, if he does that and he takes everything more seriously, he'll be fine. It's just like I could rattle off Hall of Fame great fighters that lost fights. I mean, Tommy Hearns, when he lost to Hagler, he came back and he won fights after that. I mean, you're not going to win them all. I mean, Floyd won them all, Rocky Marciano won them all, and Crawford may go on to win them all, but that's few and far between. Muhammad Ali is considered one of the greatest of all time, and he didn't win all his fights. So you just got to come back. I believe that Spence should take a little bit of time. Some people disagree with me with this. I believe he should take a little bit of time off, like enact the rematch clause, but not in December, maybe like February or March. Take some time off and really work on what you need to work on to compete better with Bud Crawford.
Yeah, but now we know the contract is scheduled as if the loser wants to rematch, it's scheduled for December. And he's saying after the fight he wants a rematch. I mean, everyone's seen the fight. Do you think there should be a rematch?
I know a lot of people that say rematch for what, but I believe that all great fighters, all good fighters, they want the rematch. They want. It's a pride thing. And I know people say, well, pride comes before the fall, but still, it's like it's inside of them. And I give you a real good example. Juan Manuel Marquez, when he fought Pacquiao that first time, he had to get back in the ring with Pacquiao. He's like, hold up, I gotta get back, and he kept losing to him. But he's like, I gotta get back into it in there until that last one when he knocked Pacquiao out. So now I'm not saying it's gonna be like that with these two, because the first fight with Pacquiao and Marquez, that was a draw. That was actually an excellent fight. Saw that fight like 3 times.
Right.
But so he did. I believe he should do a rematch, just not in December. Maybe like February, March, something like that. But I'm not Earl Spence.
Right, and I'm looking at something that's really interesting. It's been so many boxers going back and forth with each other on Twitter, X or whatever they call it now. And this is, I would say, the most interesting, fight that can happen, a exhibition. They say it may be for charity. Clarissa Shields versus Keith Thurman.
What? Why?
They've been going back and forth on Twitter, and for some reason Keith Thurman was going at her, and she says she's accepted a fight. Maybe this is something that they're just messing around with, talking, but they're saying it could be a charity event, not an actual fight. People saying it's a lose-lose for Keith Thurman.
Yeah, so I wouldn't
You
do it if I
know.
was Keith Thurman, even for charity. It's lose-lose. He has nothing. He has nothing to gain from it. If he beats her, oh, you beat up a girl. You know what I mean? You beat up a girl if he beats her. If he loses to her, oh, you lost to a girl.
Yeah.
And Keith Thurman's actually a good he was a good fighter. And
Right.
he wasn't great, but he was a good fighter. So I don't understand this thing. And Clarissa Shields is kind of weird sometimes. Like she jumps on any slight. If you say, I remember one commentator said the pound for pound the greatest puncher out there is Amanda Nunes. And didn't even mention Clarissa Shields. Clarissa Shields gets on, what? It's not Amanda Nunes. It's blah, blah, blah. She just literally tried to drag this one commentator. And the commentator didn't say anything bad about her. And you're just like, yo, like what? I don't understand why she gets so bent out of shape over
Right.
stuff like that.
Yeah, and the thing is, in this world of this like celebrity boxing, you know, like what's going to happen this weekend, Nate Diaz versus Jake Paul, that's on Days In Boxing. They just had a press conference and they had a little scuffle and whatnot. So it seemed, you know, off the backs of this whole, you know, the Paul brothers and everything, everyone sees there's money and can be made with these outlandish fights. Tyson Fury is gonna fight the heavyweight champion, the UFC heavyweight champion. That Mike Tyson said he's going to help. He's gonna help train.
Train the UFC guy?
Yes,
Oh.
he's gonna help train him. So, with the past 5 fights, right,
Mm-hmm.
and they've all been some of the top money buys in boxing. I can see why everybody's trying to jump on this train as far as getting into the ring. It's good that fighters are putting their all on the line as far as their undefeated careers on the line for, you know, legacy. And it's great for us as fans to watch, you know, these great fighters. You have Jamel Charlo fighting Canelo Alvarez in September.
Yeah.
There are some things going on about his belts as he move up a weight class. You know, would he have to relinquish those belts and whatnot?
He's moving up like 2 weight classes, isn't he? Like,
Something like that, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it says right here, Tim Tszyu will be elevated to the full WBO light middleweight champion as
Okay.
Charlo goes against Canelo Alvarez.
Yeah,
So
I heard about that.
yeah, so my question is, the Earl Spence rematch, Earl Spence Crawford rematch, he wants it at 154.
Yes.
This the championship is at 147. I mean, well, it's not going to be a championship fight then, right? If it goes to 154, it's going to be just, I'd say, not an exhibition fight, but it'll be a fight, right? Without a championship. I mean, like you said, that just means this is just for pride, right? The rematch,
Yeah.
money, obviously,
Money,
but pride because you got watched so bad.
And honestly, when it comes to the titles, who cares? Like, who cares? Like, no, we don't have to fight for the title. He can keep the 147 because Bud Crawford's gonna move up anyway. He's gonna move up anyway because he was barking at Charlo at the fight. He was like, "Yo, you're next, you know." So because they don't like each other. Like for whatever reason, I don't know what it is. There, they do not like each other. So
Yeah.
I would love to see that because that means it's a absolute bloodbath.
And the thing is also with Crawford, he's the first male fighter to win 2 weight classes their undisputed belts. So right now he is the what's it, super middleweight?
No, he's
A welterweight,
welterweight.
right?
He's welterweight.
He's the welterweight
he did it at
undisputed
140,
champion.
147, and he wants to try to do it at 154.
Right, at 140, he's the 140 undisputed champion. The first male ever to do that.
Oh,
2 different in the 4 belt era.
Okay.
So I think that's it. Because I was thinking like, well, I think maybe
I thought-
Muhammad Ali did that, or
yeah, I thought
Roy Jones, or Pacquiao
did that.
But
Okay.
in the 4 belt era, which is I think since 2005, 2004, there's only been, if I'm not mistaken, 6 or 7 undisputed champions in the 4 belt era. So he's the first to do it in two
Two
weight
weight
classes.
Okay.
And if he does it going up to 154, that'll be unprecedented.
Yeah,
So
it'd be
you gotta.
unprecedented. And like Dan Raphael used to always say when he said it about Pacquiao, when Pacquiao was winning all those titles, he said if it was that easy, everybody'd be doing it.
Yeah.
So it's not really easy to do. But I'll quote Mayweather because Mayweather used to say, "I fight for checks, not belts." So you know, like these alphabet titles, they mean something, but really, do they really mean something?
Right. I
You
think
know?
what means something, if you're undisputed champion, you get that ring
Oh yeah,
magazine belt,
Yeah.
an old school.
The Ring magazine was the one that mattered to me.
Yeah. And they showed it on the press conference, him getting that belt. So I was like, okay, that's nice.
Yeah.
We're going to come right back. We're going to go into NFL as the Hall of Fame game has started. The first NFL game of the season. And we're going to get into some NFL talk, so keep it locked right here, the Keep 1 Million Show.
Yes, sir.
It's time to care for yourself and save a little more for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to boost your retirement
I really
savings.
thought Pacquiao did that, man.
Visit aceyourretirement.org.
I really thought Pacquiao did undisputed in at least
A
two.
public service announcement.
Two weight
Yeah,
classes.
so I was
But-
looking at I was thinking,
You looked
but-
it up and everything. That's factual right there. That's
Yeah.
cool. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah.
Hey Kevin, thinking about saving
Yeah.
for retirement?
Yeah.
But how do I
Before
It's
belt
easy,
era.
though.
And I was looking at like before belt era.
Yeah, for about
And then before belt was only in like the early 2000s.
WBC, WBA, WBO,
IBF.
IBF. I don't think they count IBO.
No, not the other ones. They don't. Those like Intercontinental or
Yeah.
you know, some weird belts.
Optimize your savings.
Let Avo lead the way.
Visit aceyourretirement.org today. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
All right, we're back. Keep 1 Million Show. I'm Dwayne,
Sean Pate.
and we have an NFL game, 16-14.
Okay.
Jets over the Cleveland Browns. It's in the third quarter. You have Zach Wilson as the quarterback. Quarterback for the Jets.
Okay.
Um,
Did the Jets still have that?
One.
Did the Jets still have that one quarterback they had last year? The like fourth string, the dude that did really good at the end of the season. They still got him.
Mike White, no, he
Oh.
left. He went to. If I'm not, he went. I think he went to Washington.
Oh, okay. I was just curious.
Yeah, I think he went to Washington. I'll have to double check
No,
that.
no.
Yeah, Zach Wilson and Kellen Mond for the Cleveland. So, you know, Aaron Rodgers and Deshaun Watson is not. They haven't even dressed, so they're not going to play this game.
They usually don't play this game. Yeah.
Right. The thing is, you know, it's great to have the NFL back, but there was some little chippiness going on
Mm-hmm.
when it came to the coaches.
Oh,
we talked about this Sean Payton
Mm-hmm.
going at Nathaniel Hackett.
Yeah.
He's the offense coordinator for the Jets, and you know everyone defended Nathaniel Hackett on the Jets. You know, Aaron Rodgers said, you know, keep my coach's name out your mouth.
I hate when people say that.
Nathaniel Hackett was like, he kind of took the high road, and a lot of people are saying that this is kind of crossing the line here with the coach's code or, you know, bro code. That, you know, you don't talk bad about other coaches in public. I mean, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I agree with that. I read some stuff and I seen some videos on different people's perspectives. Like Stephen A. Smith was saying that he doesn't agree with how Sean Payton did it, but was Sean Payton wrong? I was like, you know what? I was told one time that you could be right and wrong at the same time. Like, was Sean Payton right? Yes. But was he wrong in what he did and how he did it? Yes. It's no way to justify what he did, and I think he got up there and apologized. But I know Dan Orlovsky said that he needed to call Nathaniel Hackett and talk to him because that wasn't cool. Now we all know Nathaniel Hackett did a horrible job last year. He did a horrible job last year. I mean, Nathaniel Hackett knows he did a bad job. But the man, matter of fact, some people say he didn't deserve to get a job this year, maybe sit out for a while. But the man got a job, because I'm not going to say a man can't get a paycheck. So the man got a job. I mean, he's the offensive coordinator for the New York Jets. Why are you bashing this man? You know, so it makes no sense. But we shall see. They play each other in week 5, I believe.
Yes.
So it's going to be a good matchup and everything, and we'll see.
Right. And other NFL news, you have Joe Burrow with a strained calf. He's out. He's going to be out for some weeks, so he may not play in the preseason. You might see him, week 1. You got to kind of
That's fine.
Save him.
That's fine.
And how where do you see the Bengals? They're knocking on the door. They've leapfrogged the Bills as the next up and coming AFC team.
Well,
where do you see?
Well, Joe Burrow is definitely playing for that contract, and it's coming up. That contract is coming up. The Bengals actually have their core set up. They have their wide receivers, which is Chase, T. Higgins, and I forget the other wide receiver's name on that team. But then they got I need to see what they're gonna do with Mixon. Mixon's been there for a little bit. See what you know how to do the whole running back situation in NFL.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I got to see what they're gonna do with Mixon, and they need to shore up that offensive line. The Bengals gonna make some noise, and they definitely did leapfrog the Buffalo Bills.
Right. And then speaking with the running backs, you have Jonathan Taylor, who requested a trade. Yeah. And then in the preseason, he actually talked with the owner, Jim Irsay, and they had, I guess, a heated discussion in his luxury bus. And there's been reports coming out that Jonathan Taylor has a bad back, and if he doesn't play, he can forfeit the season and lose a whole year's salary or something like that. And he comes back via Twitter and says, "No, I don't have a bad back. Never had a bad back. Your sources are wrong. Find new sources." And this is a guy who really doesn't say much on social media. Doesn't say much at all. He just goes about his business. He's top running back from Stanford. A couple years ago, he had one of the top running backs in the league. Was injury prone last season. Now he's healthy, and all this is coming out. I don't know what to say about what's going on in Indianapolis. They got a new rookie quarterback. They're always one player away from getting to playoffs and deep in the playoffs. What's going on with Indianapolis?
Man, this is tough because Irsay is one of those owners that let me ask you this: who bus was it? Was it Irsay's bus?
Yeah, it was Irsay's bus.
Okay.
It was a luxury bus.
You said luxury? No. Taylor could have had a luxury bus.
Right. But they had, that's where where Irsay is in practice.
Okay.
In the training camp. So.
All right. So, Irsay is one of those owners that he's a lot. Some owners don't really like him. A lot of people don't really like him. He's had his personal issues and everything he's been working through. So to have fake reports out there, I don't know who picked the fake reports out there, but Jonathan Taylor saying they fake. He wants to leave. I want to know the true reason. I don't think it's the fake reports why he wants to leave. I'm guessing because he's going to want to get one more big contract, and he's kind of figuring that he's not going to get it with Indianapolis. So this is real sticky because he was the heart of that offense. He was the heart of that team. So, man.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. It's a sticky situation. He's under contract, so Jim Irsay is going to dig in his heels, per se.
when it comes to not going to trade him. He said he's not trading him now. He's not going to trade him in October, which is the trading deadline. So, I mean, he's really stuck. He's stuck. So, you see what's going on with the running backs and the running back position, and maybe he's a little bit late to the party, but I think it's a bad situation all around, because now if it gets into the season and this distraction in the season, they can get off to a very, very rough start. And next around the league in the NFL, you have an ex-Colt, Ganok, headed to the Bears for 1 year, $10 million. He's their defensive end. Also, there's a quarterback. Geno Smith won't be charged in connection with a 2022 arrest, suspicion of DUI.
Okay.
He won't be charged.
All right. That's good to hear.
Attorney told ESPN on Thursday prosecutors declined to charge Smith with reckless driving, citing insufficient evidence to prove reasonable doubt he was guilty. So that's good on his part.
That's good on his part. Call an Uber, call a Lyft, man. Come on now.
Right. And going back to the Jets, with the Jets on Hard Knocks.
Okay, yeah.
It seems like now they kind of have embraced the Hard Knocks. How you think that's going to go with now Hard Knocks has competition with these the quarterback docu-series that really made a splash on Netflix, and it's going to have a second season. So how do you think Hard Knocks is going to respond?
Never really been a fan of Hard Knocks, so they'll respond how they respond. They'll keep trying to get teams to come in and do it. Normally the teams that do it are not, well, they consider the Jets a contender, but they haven't been a contender for some years. So normally, like, contenders, I don't think the Patriots ever did Hard Knocks. The Eagles never did it. Did the Cowboys ever? I don't think the Cowboys ever did it either. The 49ers never did that. Teams that are, I'm not saying that the Jets aren't class personified, but some of the teams that are normally contenders, they don't do Hard Knocks. Yeah. So I'm like, about Hard Knocks. The quarterback series is a little bit more interesting because you're focusing on one player. Not one player. You're focusing on one position, and you're looking at like 3 or 4 totally different men that play this position and how they're going about it. Now, what I would like to see is not necessarily just be quarterbacks. Maybe like the next season be like running backs, and especially with this running back situation going on, that would be interesting. Or the diva position of wide receiver, that would be interesting as well. I would like to see that, but we'll see.
Yeah, and then as far as season 2 is concerned, we still don't know who's going to be in season 2 of quarterbacks, as there's been rumors different quarterbacks have declined, but I've read an article saying that it's a ploy so fans won't know who is actually going to be in it.
Okay.
So
okay.
And in some legal news, if you remember, Jackson Mahomes, he had a situation with a woman, a restaurant owner, who he had groped, sexually assaulted. Is in court, and there's some more legal problems because the owner of Aspen's restaurant, who's Aspen Vaughn, who's the plaintiff of the situation, said her profits dipped 75% because of there's been a lot of vandalisms and damage from possible fans of Jackson Mahomes, damage to her restaurant, and her workers are concerned about that. I mean, it's kind of a messed up situation. I mean, there's going to be a huge lawsuit coming if this is true.
Yeah, it's well, for the sexual assault thing, the alleged sexual assault. That's sad in itself. To see that happening, because we were always taught to keep your hands to yourself, keep it moving. As far as the vandalism, she's a business owner. She doesn't carry the Mahomes name. I mean, she's an entrepreneur, and a lot of times I don't know if her restaurant is a chain or not, but
I think it's just a single one.
A single one. So now that it's not a chain, so it's even harder a lot of times. Yeah. So now she has this to deal with, where she believes it's fans and everybody coming attacking her workers, and she's losing a lot of capital. And I don't like to see the working man or the working woman lose capital.
Yeah, it's a bad situation all around. Yeah. And if it goes to trial, it may Jackson Mahomes may get some jail time, and a huge lawsuit for damages. Because if it comes out true that those damages come from fans of his or whatnot, then that's going to be bad news for him. Moving to NCAA news, the Big Ten is looking to add 4 more teams from the Pac-12. This just came out this past week. Oregon, Stanford, Washington, and University of California, are in negotiations, talking with the Big Ten. We've been talking about this on Keep 1 Million Show, formerly Mark My Words Sports Show, since we started this show 6 years ago with my ex-co-host Kenny, and we actually talked about super conferences way before this has actually happened. We've talked about how maybe in 5 years the NCAA may be dissolved. Because, and this is before the NIL deal situation, before players are getting paid. The thing is, now we're here, and now everything's going to be happening very quickly. The term, what would you say? The saying, you wait and then everything moves quickly. I can't even think about it right now. The thing is, the Pac-12 is in trouble. The commissioner of the Pac-12 has presented the Pac-12 this past week with a deal with Apple Plus. They don't have a media rights deal, and that's why all this movement is about. Is the media rights deal, the revenue sharing, and the reason why USC and UCLA left to the Big Ten is because they didn't think they was getting enough revenue sharing, since they're the key pieces of the Pac-12.
Yeah.
So now this Apple deal came about. I guess it's not good because now 4 schools, are looking to move to different conferences. Like, how do you think this is going to play out?
Well, it looks like the Pac-12 is diminishing. It's being dismantled. And, it's been around since 1915, and it looks like it's going away. I mean, it looks like it's not going. I mean, all that tradition is going away. It's not going to be it'll still be a Rose Bowl, but it won't be the Rose Bowl that we know. Pac-10 champion against the Big Ten champion, stuff like that. And what people have to understand is because it sounds like we're just talking about football. When we say this, it seems like we're just talking about football, but we're talking about all the sports. I mean, some of these schools, football teams aren't really good, but guess what? I can tell you now, Stanford's women's basketball team won national championships 3 years ago, and they're always good. Their gymnastic team, UCLA,
Right.
the women's gymnastic team in Stanford and UCLA are really good. USC has one of the best track teams in the nation. So this affects a lot
Right.
of college sports, y'all.
And that's what the holdup is as far as what they're calling the Olympic sports. You know, the baseball, soccer, swimming, you know,
Yeah.
all those sports, gymnastics, trying to find the travel, because now if this happens, if these 4 teams go to the Big Ten, now the Big Ten is from New Jersey all the way to Washington State.
Yes,
So how are that travel is going to go,
yes.
right? And then the other teams in the Pac-12, the Arizona State, and Utah. Arizona already, U of A, is looking in discussions with the Big 12.
Mhm.
As we talked about last week, Colorado has already said they're going to the Big 12,
Yeah.
a preempted strike, if you will, next season in 2024. I guess they seen the writings on the wall, and they have a bit of momentum with Deion Sanders, with these 5-star athletes wanting to go to Colorado. Now, when it comes to U of A and ASU, I think this is a great situation for them because they do recruit out of Texas, and you know that the Big 12 is based in Texas,
Mhm.
you know, Louisiana and whatnot, Houston, Oklahoma, and remember Oklahoma and Texas is moving to the SEC in 2024. So
Yeah.
in 2024, the NCAA landscape as far as conference is concerned is going to look very, very different.
Yes.
But-
Extremely different.
Let me go to break real quick, come back, talk about it some more. It's the Keep 1 Million Show. Yeah, I went a little bit over there.
Oh, we did? Oh,
Yeah, a couple minutes, but that's all good. Then after that, I'm gonna get into the gambling scandal, the Iowa State.
you said you wanted to finish up the conference talk though, something like
For a little bit, and
that. Okay,
then
then go into the gambling.
because I wanted to talk about Florida State situation.
Okay,
because
yeah,
I was
ACC.
reading about that too.
All right. Yeah. All right.
All right, we're back. Keep 1 Million Show. And we are talking about NCAA realignment, what's going to happen in the next couple years.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with the Pac-12, you know, not getting a large media rights deal, you know, which is a concern for many of Pac-12 schools.
Mm-hmm.
As you see, they're talking to different conferences, the Big 12 and the Big 10. We may see what's called super conferences, something that's been talked about for a couple years, with the new 12-team playoff, which is going to start not this season but next season, the end of next season. And with that, what's going on with the Pac-12 in a couple years, maybe over, maybe dissolved. The other schools, the Washington State, Oregon State, they may go to the Mountain West.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they may merge there, or merge into the Big 12 as well. That's 20 schools in the Big 10 and possibly 20 schools in the Big 12. So there's some rumblings over in the East as the ACC. Florida State been in the ACC since its inception, longer than I can remember. Matter of fact, they've been since the early the 80s, and they're talking about they're not getting their piece of the pie, so they're looking to leave the ACC. The head of the athletic director of North Carolina is saying that is not fair and wrong, and they all signed the same contracts, so they should abide by the rules and be good, quote unquote, good members of the ACC. If another team in the ACC starts to rumble and say that they're not being fairly compensated, I'm really thinking that the ACC is going to start to crumble as well, because you see the SEC, their media rights deal is so large, billions and billions of dollars, that they can possibly split up the pie to where, they may get more money in the SEC than the ACC. In a couple of years, like I told somebody, by 2025, I could see the NCAA dissolving and college football being its own entity, aside from the Olympic sports. I think they're going to call those Olympic sports, right?
Okay.
As far as baseball, boxing, swimming,
water polo,
right, gymnastics, and all those, it can stay. And they're not necessarily amateur sports as well. Those players, they get the NIL deals, they get the Olympic contracts, they get the the sponsorships when they go to the Olympics while they're still as a student athlete.
But let's not get it twisted. Basketball and football also bring that money in,
right?
And women's basketball as well. If you have a really good women's team, that's what brings the money in, and everybody knows that.
No, that's absolutely true. And I didn't even bring up the basketball aspect of it, because you still have March Madness, which brings in billions of dollars.
Billions.
So with the realignment there, because there's been realignment in college basketball in the past, 5 to 10 years.
Oh, yeah. It has,
As far as the, I think it was the Atlantic 10 and the Big East and the ACC rearranging theirs, and you have the whole. Yeah. I think the Atlantic 10s, all the Catholic schools now, are in one league, and and things of that nature. So they're not new to it as well. So
not at all.
This is mainly about football.
Yeah.
It's mainly about, that college football playoffs and all the money that's generated from that. And now, since, like I said, this 12-team playoff is going to happen, what teams can get in. And if you've seen in the past 4 or 5 years, the Pac-12 has not had a representative in the playoffs since Oregon, when they first started. I think when the playoffs first started,
Chip
Oregon
Kelly,
was right.
Chip Kelly and them,
Right, and they haven't been back. Maybe twice they've been in the playoffs and they haven't been back. Now USC is getting close, very close.
Yeah.
This next couple of seasons, they're one of the favorites to make it to the Final Four, as it being the last of 4-team playoff year.
Yeah.
So with that being said, look for a lot of movement, a lot of changes. Your favorite team may not be in that conference that you did like a few years ago.
Yeah, you can bet on that.
One last topic, also college football. 7 athletes are charged in the gambling sting at Iowa and Iowa State. It's off ESPN.com.
Yeah.
Gambling investigation at Iowa and Iowa State have now resulted in criminal charges filed against 7 current and former athletes, with ex-Hawkeye basketball player Arun Ulis and Cyclones quarterback Hunter Deckers, the ones with the highest profiles.
Mm-hmm.
Each is accused of complaints of tampering with records related to an Iowa Criminal Division investigation into sports gambling. Current athletes also could face loss of eligibility for violating NCAA gambling rules.
Okay.
According to Johnson County online court records, charges have been filed against Ulis, Iowa baseball player Garrett Christensen, and Iowa kicker Aaron Bloom.
Okay.
Deckers was charged in Story County, as were ISU football players Dodge Saucer, Iowa State wrestler Panero Johnson, and former football player Inoue Wazarki, who was drafted by the Denver Broncos in 2022 and suspended indefinitely by the NFL last month for betting on games during his rookie season.
Mm.
The Iowa Department of Public Safety and said Wednesday the investigation was ongoing and additional charges could be filed. Attorneys for the athletes were not listed in the complaints. Mark Winhard of Des Moines said he was representing Deckers and Saucer, and both would plead not guilty. He also said Deckers, who was expected to be a second-year starting quarterback for the Cyclones this season, would skip preseason camp. Iowa State Athletic Director Jamie Pollard said in a statement Wednesday that the process of addressing the issues with the athletes involved is ongoing and will take time. Ulis, who transferred to Nebraska after starting 27 games for the Hawkeyes last season, is accused of placing online wagers on FanDuel, accounts set up under the name of his brother. One complaint said Ulis was under the legal gambling age of 21 between February 2021 to December 2022. He used his phone to make about 1,850 wagers totaling over $34,800, with at least one place on an Iowa sporting event and over 430 placed on NCAA basketball football games, the complaint said. Christensen, who appeared in 11 baseball games for the Hawkeyes last season, is alleged to have use of his phone to make 559 wagers totaling 2,400 with DraftKings Sportsbook from last November to February, with 23 placed on Iowa sporting events. The account was under his mother's name. Now he's the one that is under. They're two of them are underage, under the age of 21.
Okay.
The one guy, he was using his account under his mother's and father's name. I mean, this is what do you think of this? Because this goes into the realm of addiction.
Yeah. When you said 34,000 and stuff like that, that's addiction. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and lie and say I never put money down on the game, but the last time I put money down on anything was last March. Yeah, I don't make a habit out of that because I like money too much. I like my money too much to be sitting out there losing it. Now, this is a bad situation because it hurts the integrity of the game. What it does, especially when you do it on your own sport and possibly your own team, even if you're betting for your team to win, that's still not a good look. And I always would say, if you're going to do this, do it in somebody else's name, which somebody did, but they still use their phone. I would say, like, have somebody else use their phone. Do it. Somebody you trust. Do it for you, and you get the money and you break them off a little bit because they can trace everything through your phone. It's called smartphone for a reason.
Well, here's the thing. They weren't betting their team to win. They were betting their team to lose. Remember, Iowa was one of the worst offenses in possibly the history of college football, and this kid who was underage was placing the under every single time.
Oh yeah, and that's what I mean by messing up the integrity of the game. That means you are
going against your team.
You're going against your team, and you're aiding that, and that's bad. That's bad. That's just that to me. That's just as bad as Tim Donaghy. Like that's bad. I mean that's territory where, I mean you, like I told you before. I watch Michael Francis. He was a former Colombo crime boss. He was a capital regime, and he talks about when they would get athletes, college athletes or professional athletes, and deal with them. What they would tell them, okay, put the ball on the ground, pop up, ground out, stuff like that. Shoot a couple bricks, things of that nature. So it's the integrity of the game, and these kids, I'd be surprised if they play again.
Yeah.
If found guilty, I'd be surprised if they play again.
I mean, I don't think these are players that were going to be good enough to make it to their respective leagues.
Doesn't matter. You're losing the scholarship if you got one.
And in college sports, I would say that would be a rightful discipline action to lose scholarship.
And you can't go and play for somebody else.
Lose eligibility. I mean, you see one player already transferred to Nebraska, so he jumped on it quick. He knew what he was doing. They know what they're doing is wrong. Like to see one player actually went to, and that's why I'll talk about addiction. One player was drafted, went to the NFL, and was still betting on teams and got caught in the NFL and now suspended.
Now let me ask the question for the people out there: Is gambling across the board wrong, or is it just gambling on your sport? So if you're playing in the NFL, can you place a bet on a Spence Crawford fight?
Say that again?
So if you're playing in the NFL, can you put a bet on the Spence Crawford fight? Because you did that. Or, because I understand not betting on your sport, but can you bet on boxing or something like that?
Right. I don't think they can bet at all.
At all? Okay.
I don't think so. But what's weird is all these players that are getting caught betting, they're betting on their own sport, which is really strange to me. Yeah. I guess since they have inside knowledge and things like that they think they can make more money.
That's why it's wrong, that in the integrity of the sport, because you have an inside track. So it's just bad. It's just bad.
Right. Yeah, that is a horrible situation, and I know there's going to be more to come. So we are going to monitor that story and more like those stories, because I think that's going to be not a future epidemic, but it's been an epidemic with people that gamble, for years, for a very long, for decades, and now you have a new generation with sports gambling being illegal now. It's going to be a big deal, and I wonder how these sporting leagues are going to try to combat it. Like to let everyone know that we're on YouTube, we're on Instagram, and follow us on listen2krdp.com. Thanks everybody for listening.
Before we go real quick, if you have a problem with gambling, please get some help. If you have a problem with gambling, go to Gambling Anonymous. Get some help, please.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks a lot for that. We're going to come right back with more Keep 1 Million Show. Thanks for saying that. But we're actually going to talk about that. We're supposed to talk about
and Shea open Monday
we're
through
supposed
Saturday.
to say that.
Gifts on Facebook.
I said, thanks for saying that.
Yeah, I almost
If you're a
forgot.
small business owner, good sound objective advice.
I just know I don't have the phone number to them, but I
there's a
said.
number to,
But if you Google gambling anonymous, you'll be
Right.
no, cause that's a serious addiction. I knew somebody. His mom was a gambler, and she. It was to the point where like his dad had to. This is back in the day when you got paychecks. His dad had to go and demand that her paychecks be given to him because she would like spend all her money like going to the number house because we still had number houses at that time and gambling. She would gamble in sports too. And he had to stop it. It
provides primary medical, dental, behavioral.
It almost led to divorce. He kicked her out the house. I mean, like, it was bad. And so she literally I mean they still married. She got it together, but it was bad. Because sometimes I would go over there, his mom wouldn't be there. I mean, you just people like, how can you get addicted to gambling? How can you? Like when you win, like I give you a good example. When I won that money on the Princeton game, some people like they get charged up like, oh man.
Oh, this is crazy right here. The story I'm reading.
90.7
Yeah,
FM
talk
in
about
the East
this
Valley
next hour. I
and
just found
online
this.
at
Oh, what is it?
The number 2,
Skylar Diggins saying she can't use the Mercury facilities while being on maternity leave. It's on ESPN.com. I just seen it.
I didn't know she was pregnant.
I didn't even know either. I don't follow WNBA at all. But you know she's married. She has a kid.
Oh, she already has a kid.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
I've seen the commercials.
I knew she was married. She married a college sweetheart.
Yeah.
I knew that. And she said that she can't use the Mercury's facilities while on maternity. What is she trying to use Mercury's facilities
She's
for?
saying she can't access to massage therapists, chiropractors, chefs, strength and conditioning, nutritionists.
You know what?
Accessibility.
I'll play devil's advocate
Every
on
other
that.
player has access to. However, I'm still down 48 pounds on my own, and I'm feeling great. But here's the thing. Per WNBA's most recent collective bargaining agreement, Phoenix must pay her full salary when she's on maternity.
Yeah, they're gonna pay her full salary. Yeah, that's a lot of jobs are like that too.
Yeah.
In the military, they still get paid. They're like, you still gonna get your money. Another thing is like with the chiropractor, with all that, I think they're covering it so if something happens to her in the facility and she happens to lose a baby, she can sleep.
No, she has yet to sit up with Mercury after giving birth to her second child in the spring.
Oh, she already gave birth.
Yeah, she
Oh.
appeared on the Mercury last time, August 4th, 2022. She was leading the team in scoring and assists before stepping away for the rest of the season due to personal reasons. She
It
got
wasn't
pregnant.
even a fight. As Bud Crawford, TKO's Earl Spence Jr., we're going to talk about the
It was
fight
all good when I was
and
leaving for
what's
personal
next for both opponents.
But when
We're going to get
I'm
into
leaving because I'm having
NCAA has a bit of a
complications,
realignment
my
problem
child,
as conferences are coaching the Pac-12. Will the Pac-12 survive? And what will college sports
I
look
mean,
like?
I can't be mad about you talking about trading somebody. It's a business.
We're going to talk about that and everything in between.
It's messed up, but I
in the
mean,
sports world and beyond. So keep alive right
I
here.
ain't gonna say feel
on
bad
the
for
Keep 1 Million show.
women because it's really hard. It's really hard on them because I had to tell this to my sister-in-law. Like she didn't end up going to college for swimming. She was swimming. I told her, you know, if you go to school on a scholarship, I had to tell her don't get pregnant because you lose your scholarship. You know, the dude that got you pregnant doesn't lose anything. You do.
Right.
So unless you get an abortion or something like that, but if you keep it, you lose it. Like you lose the scholarship. So it's really hard for females, man. A lot of these young ladies. Some of them plan their pregnancies. They plan their pregnancies like after WNBA, but that messes them up overseas too. So I remember when Candace Owens, Candace Owens. No, not Candace Owens. Candace Parker. I said Wiggins Owens. Candace Parker, when she had her baby and she came back, and you could tell that she wasn't right because after a woman has a baby, I mean. Come on now, like so. I mean, it's tough on them. It's real tough on them. trade who? Wiggins?
Diggins.
I mean, not Wiggins, Diggins.
Yeah, it's Diggins Smith now, but
Yeah, Diggins Smith, yeah, she got married.
I want to bring this up though. It's kind of interesting. I mean, we talk about women, you talk about WBA. We go now. Yeah, that's kind of strange. And then Mike Tyson's gonna help. So I want to kind of do the same we did for the first hour.
You want to talk about the fight first?
Talk about the fight and then watch how. Because this the second hour is like the national hour, so the hour's gonna be on syndicated. So okay, let me see that football. Once again, get into the college football situation again. May talk about the Lizzo situation.
We got Mark Jackson.
3.5 Dawn FM. We've been waiting for a long time. Yes, we've been waiting for a long time. But we ain't gonna wait no more. We're getting ready to rock and roll. We're gonna 1, 2, 3, 4.
And we're back. Keep 1 million. Show 'em Dwayne.
Sean Pay.
It is the 3rd of August, 2023.
Yes,
and
sir.
there was a huge fight last week, and it wasn't as big as we thought it would be, as Terrence Crawford destroyed Earl Spence Jr.
Yes, he did.
TKO in 9 rounds.
Yeah, I should have stuck to my. I had Terrence Crawford winning a split decision, but originally, I don't know if you remember, I had him stopping Spence in 7. That was stopping Spence in 7, and I said, no, Spence is too good for that. That it's gonna go the distance, but I should have stuck to my first instinct, even though I was off 2 rounds. But I should have stuck to my first instinct.
Right. I think I was so back and forth with it. That's why I didn't bet. But a lot of people were going for Spence, thinking that he was going to stop Crawford with how his style of boxing is coming forward, and using that jab. And it was the exact opposite, as Crawford used his jab to negate Spence's jab, and he had like this power jab that he knocked him down in the 2nd round with it.
Yeah, Larry Holmes type jab. Yeah.
Like, I mean, did Crawford have to change his style a bit?
Well, Crawford had many styles. I mean, these are styles he's used before. I mean, he can fight you counterpunching, going back and countering you. He can come forward. He can go southpaw. I believe that's the way he dropped him, right? The southpaw stance. So that means he's standing like this. That means his right hand is the jab hand. So there it is. I mean, he negated Earl Spence's jab. So you was just like, man, Earl Spence couldn't get anything off. It was just, and I was watching, like I said in the last hour. I watched the fight one time, and then I watched it again because I like to watch the fight to enjoy it. Then I watched the fight to analyze it. I mean, Terrence Crawford for a perfect fight. He put a perfect fight.
Right.
And he knocked TKO a good young fighter, and he's the undisputed champion in 2 different weight classes. First, you just told me first fighter to do that.
In the
4 belt era. And I thought Manny Pacquiao did it, but I was like, man, okay, and he might do it in 154. So
if he moves up to 154,
if he moves up there, which I believe he will.
Right now you have Charlo versus Canelo Alvarez. Charlo's moving up to fight Canelo Alvarez. He's going to lose his belt, his WBO belt, because of that. And there's a whole lot of rumblings going on, and it's a good thing for boxing's fans, to see the best fight the best.
Mm-hmm.
Crawford called out Charlo in the fight after he knocked down Spence, and Spence is getting the 8 count. He said, "You're next."
You're next.
That's kind of like Mayweather-esque. Remember, Mayweather would talk to the commentators during his fights.
Yeah, you talking about the football game,
right?
He's like, "Yeah, I like Michael Vick." Bing, bing, bing.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of an amazing thing. So, I thought it would be a real even fight, a split decision, or it was clearly Crawford is so much on another level than Spence. It's not even close.
Yeah.
There is a mandatory rematch. He said he's going to rematch, possibly be a rematch at 154, which means it's not going to be for his undisputed titles.
Nah.
Do you want to even see that rematch?
As a fan, I do not. But I understand why I would be the rematch. I would much rather see the rematch. I would rather see the rematch not in December, but in maybe March, to give Spence some time to actually psychologically recuperate, but also to analyze the tape and get some more tools in his bag, because he just didn't have enough tools to even compete with Crawford. And I believe Crawford will still win that second fight, and that doesn't mean that Spence is not a bad fighter, because and that's what I don't like about boxing. Boxing today is like, you lose one fight or you lose 2 fights, oh, you're garbage. No, Spence, he just can't beat Crawford, but I guarantee you he can beat a whole lot of other fighters. So I believe Spence is going to be fine. I believe he can make the Hall of Fame, but it's just this one guy he's not going to be able to contend with.
Right. I don't think there should be a rematch, but obviously there most likely will be. It'll be in December. Crawford hasn't really, he's been on his little press run right now, so he hasn't really said who he wants to fight. He talked about Charlo. He talked about rematch. Mm-hmm. Everybody's on Twitter thinking him versus Charlo after the Alvarez fight. Mm-hmm. I think people actually convinced that he's going to beat Alvarez. I'm not sure about that, but
that's a tough one for me to call right there, because Alvarez hasn't looked impressive in his last few fights, and Charlo's a monster. So we'll see.
Yeah, exactly. So with this, now you have Crawford #1 pound for pound.
Yes.
Undisputed. You have the bantamweight. I think what's his name in duo, whatever. Mm-hmm. He's #2. I had the top 10, but I'm not sure who's #3. I think it's Usyk.
Okay.
The heavyweight champion. You have Fury. You have Alvarez at 5. Stevenson. Yeah. And Stevenson. Tank is in there. I think it's like 6'7", 7'6". But my question is, what is another major fight that you want to see that may possibly could happen?
I'm gonna be a little bit controversial right here. I'm gonna say I want to see Alicia Baumgartner fight. I can't remember the girl's name, but she just beat Katie Taylor. Is one girl. I want to see Alicia Baumgartner fight that girl. Alicia Baumgartner really beat her last fight. She dominated the woman that actually beat her. Alicia Baumgartner only lost 1 fight in her career, and she rematched the girl and dominated her. So I want to see Alicia Baumgartner fight the woman that beat Katie Taylor. I think that'd be something right there.
Right. I'm seeing a lot of
folks in here.
I'm seeing a lot of Shakur Stevens. People talking about him, and he wants to fight.
He wants to fight Tank, right?
Not necessarily Tank. I think it was. It wasn't Earl Spence.
No, Shakur Stevenson's like 135 though, right?
Yeah. He's small.
Yeah.
So,
He's not moving up there to fight.
No, but he's a fighter that everyone's talking about because they say he's the face of the league, the face of boxing.
Oh yeah.
Which I don't think so. Remember he had fought. He's undefeated. Yeah.
I thought it would be Crawford or Tank, but
Yeah. Well, no, Tank. That's what we're talking about, Tank. But yeah, I seen it earlier. Stevenson's talking about fighters he wants to fight. Tank is wants to get in there, but this Jamelo Charlo, Crawford next fight that could be a possibility, if not of a rematch. So, I mean, those 4 fighters most likely, it may happen. Another, the heavyweights have been falling off, but you have Tyson Fury is about to fight the UFC heavyweight champion. That Mike Tyson is actually going to be help training. I just seen that on ESPN. Yeah, he's going to help Gano train for the Fury fight. I think that fight is coming up October 28th in Saudi Arabia.
So is this the only fight that Fury can find? Like,
I guess so, because remember,
he might as well retire. Jeez, man.
Remember Anthony Johnson? He lost.
Yeah, I mean, he might as well just retire. He'll be in the Hall of Fame.
Right. Yeah, Fury's 33-0. I'm really shocked he doesn't fight Usyk or Joshua. I mean, I'm not sure what's going on here. It's a money grab.
Yeah.
Because that was something that was being talked about. Oh, maybe you should fight the best UFC fighter, and it's in Saudi Arabia, so there's gonna be a lot of money involved.
A lot of money in that, yeah.
That's like I said, October 28th. So, there's gonna be some major fights going on.
Tyson better not bring no weed over there, man.
Right. And like I said, Keith Thurman wants to fight a female. I forget. Clarissa Shields. Right. I mean, how do you feel about that?
No. Like, why? Like, unless it's just for extreme charity, you're just gonna be doing some pitter patter, whatever. But like if he beats her, you beat up a girl. If you lose to her, or you lost to a girl. I haven't seen Keith Thurman in the ring since Pacquiao. So I don't understand why go through with that. It makes no sense at all. No sense at all.
Yeah. Like I said, with this whole internet thing going on, how these the Jake Pauls of the world making so much money off of these like celebrity fights. I mean, hopefully this is like, if it happens, it's for charity. It's 5 rounds, something like that, not a full fight.
Here's something for you though. I know it was about a year ago. Clarissa Shields was mad because Jake Paul, he wanted to try to do something with her, and he wanted to put her on the card. I believe he wanted her to. I could be wrong. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. But I believe he wanted her to headline it, and she be the headliner, so she be the main event, and then he'll come up under her. I believe it was like that, and she got mad about that, saying why would he disrespect her like that? And she, I could beat him, and this, that, and the third. Now here's the thing. I'm not saying I want to see a woman fight a man, but I wouldn't mind seeing her and Jake Paul. Okay, because honestly, that would be, because I believe she would beat him, and okay, whatever with that, because to me he's not a professional fighter, but Keith Thurman's a professional. Come on now.
And Jake Paul this weekend is fighting Nate Diaz, a UFC fighter, former UFC fighter.
Didn't Jake Paul just lose a fight too?
I don't know what's going on with them. I don't watch those fights. The thing is though, is this is what is, going on, is this entertainment boxing. Which is a huge money deal. It's big money involved. So when you see these fights, boxers fighting UFC fighters and internet, fighters coming out fighting in remember Nate Robinson got knocked out a few years ago, and these celebrity fights. I mean, it's kind of a clown show, but it's entertainment, and with that being said, we're gonna come right back with more Keep 1 Million Show.
Sense of adventure. It's been a long time since we've had an adventure in the forest.
Mom took me to the forest last year.
I'm a slug, Stephen. It took me a long time to get here.
You're right. I should get out.
Yeah, the forest is not that far away.
Hey, Mom!
Come to the forest where the more adventurous you lives. Check out discovertheforest.org for cool places nearby. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
I hate slugs.
Joe, why didn't you tell the class what you did this weekend?
Well, my dad and I went in search of some magical minnows and found a zillion of them in the stream from our lookout rock. Then my sister and I escaped from an evil slug king and went back to my super twig fort for safety. Then we told stories till it got dark, and the Big Dipper led us all the way home.
Where were you, Joe?
We went to the forest. It's not that far away.
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest.
And we're back, Keep 1 Million Show. I'm Dwayne.
Sean P.
And the NFL is back.
Yes, sir.
We have the Jets and Cleveland Browns Hall of Fame game.
Yeah.
Looks like it's going to be Cleveland winning 21-16.
Okay.
Aaron Rodgers and Deshaun Watson did not play nor suit up.
This game is for the rookies and
right.
all the guys. Yeah.
Zach Wilson, he had a 3 for 5, 65 yards. Tim Boyle, 6 for 11, 61 yards. And for Cleveland, you had quarterbacks Kellen Mond, 13 for 19, 92 yards and a touchdown. And Dorian Thompson Robinson, 8 for 11, 82 yards and a touchdown. He used to play for UCLA some years back.
Okay.
And when it comes to the Jets, they are basically right now, the talk of the town in the NFL, getting Aaron Rodgers, revamping their offense and defense, adding Nathaniel Hackett, his ex-quarterback coach, to the offensive coordinator position. And we know about the back and forth with Denver Broncos' new head coach, Sean Payton.
Yeah.
Nathaniel Hackett basically didn't have nothing else to say, said it was unfortunate, and he's thinking about, just about the Jets and whatnot. But Aaron Rodgers said, hey, keep my coach's name out your mouth.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the situation? Because it's getting a little testy over there.
Well, that situation was unfortunate. I don't believe sometimes you can be right and you can be wrong at the same time. Was Sean Payton right about what was going on with the Denver Broncos last year under Nathaniel Hackett? Yes, he was right, but he was wrong to do it on that platform and express it that way. Nathaniel Hackett had no choice. Nathaniel Hackett knows he did a bad job last year. He couldn't say much to Sean Payton. Sean Payton's a possible Hall of Fame coach, and he's also a Super Bowl champion. So he couldn't really say anything derogatory back, and he did the right thing by taking the high road. And Aaron Rodgers defending his coach, he's been with this Nathaniel Hackett a long time. He knows him, he works well with him, he considers him one of his favorite coaches. But saying keep my coach's name out your mouth, I'm so tired of that line. Keep my name out your mouth. Come on now, I'm tired of it. I was tired of it before. I was tired of it before the slap, before Will Smith. I was tired of it way before that. It's just like, dude, you can't, whatever. But I will say, it's just unfortunate that Sean Payton went that route. Sean Payton deserves. Sean Payton, he did say that I think he issued an apology, but he needs to call the thing a hack and just be like, look, my bad, dude. I shouldn't have went out that way. Blah, 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 because he was definitely wrong.
Right. They're going to play each other week 5.
Yep,
so,
week 5.
You know, this is basically a preview to it, them going back and forth. So that's going to be a huge game. They're talking about flexing that game into Sunday Night Football for week 5. So we'll see how that happens.
We'll see.
If that happens. You know, some more football beef as Jonathan Taylor, you know, he requested a trade. The owner of the Colts, who was very outspoken, Jim Irsay, you know, had discussion with him saying basically he's not getting traded. He's in his last year of his rookie contract. He was injured last season, but the season before led the league in rushing.
Yes.
And basically, you know, it's been a back and forth. Something came on Twitter that he possibly has a back injury, and if he does, he can possibly forego his last season of his money and lose eligibility playing. Kind of strange, you know. And then he comes back on Twitter saying that his back is fine. It's not true. You need better sources. So someone from either, you know, the Colts or someone else is throwing salt in the game. And you know, it seems like it's getting really testy between the two, mainly because of what's going on with the running back situation as a whole, as we talked about this in the past couple of weeks, where running backs are getting their just due. They're not getting paid. You know, when they're 30 years old, basically, you know, the cliff, you know, the cliff falls off. You know, they fall off the cliff, and as we've seen Saquon Barkley having to take his deal, not necessarily a franchise tag, but a 1 year, $11 million deal with incentives, but he possibly could be franchise tagged next season. With Jonathan Taylor, he sees the writing on the wall, and that can happen to him as well. I mean, how do you see this playing out?
He's going to end up playing this year because he wants to get paid. So, Irsay said he's not trading him. He's due. His rookie deal is about to end. He's due up. Teams normally franchise him, and I believe they can franchise him 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
And then that's the beef because they want the contract and they want the guaranteed money. But I can tell you right now, what messed him up was Le'Veon Bell years ago when he did sit out. Then he got that big deal with the Jets and didn't really do anything with it and kind of washed out of the league after that. That's why a lot of these teams are so wary about giving running backs those big deals.
Right, exactly. Moving to quarterbacks, there's been problems with Jordan Love. Now he's the starting quarterback of the Green Bay Packers, and they're saying it's not doing well in training camp. You know.
Oh, okay.
He's kind of not grasping the offense as he should. You know, a huge step back from Aaron Rodgers. Do you think they will move on from Jordan Love if they don't see what they want to see?
Well, if they don't see what they want to see, yeah, they probably will. He's still on that rookie deal, so and it's bewildering me because he's been there for a while. He should know the playbook by now.
Yeah,
he should know the playbook. I'm not saying that he's Aaron Rodgers, but Aaron Rodgers did do well when Favre left, and but then he was under a different coach and different system probably, but I still. That's interesting. That's interesting that he's not grasping the plays.
Yeah, I guess it's not looking good for him. Also, another quarterback, Baker Mayfield, is looking at, you know, he may get beat out. He is basically the de facto starting quarterback at Tampa, but you know it's looking like other quarterbacks, backups are looking a lot better. Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. So, I mean, if Baker Mayfield gets beat out, you know, by say a rookie, over here in Tampa Bay. Is it over for Baker if he's becoming a backup quarterback?
I'm not gonna say it's over because I believe he can still back up, be a backup. He's young enough; he can still be a backup. But he probably won't be a starter. At least not for a contender. He won't be a starter. So it just, I don't know. It's that you see a lot of these quarterbacks that were really good in college come out, and you just be like, you know, like what's it, Johnny Manziel back in the day, and you can rattle off some more. You're just like, man.
Yeah. The thing is, you know, you got that huge shadow with Tom Brady. So how are they going to replace Tom Brady? You can't. You can never replace Tom Brady.
You can't replace Tom Brady.
Thing is, I think Baker, if he doesn't start week 1 with the Bucs, I think it's either career backup or his career is over. Kind of like Carson Wentz. It went from Heisman Trophy to winning playoff games with Cleveland to basically being ran out of Cleveland, and now bouncing around couple teams and may get him beat out. I mean, it's not good. Not good at all.
Yeah.
I seen something that was kind of amazing. For the first time ever, the Detroit Lions have sold out all their season tickets.
Oh, yeah.
Is the Lions the actual darling team of the league this year? Like, this is crazy. Everyone thinking they're going to go deep in the playoffs. They got a squad. They have a coach. You know, they believe in Jared Goff this upcoming season.
Yeah, they weren't bad last year. They're pretty good.
They were.
Pretty good last year.
And how the division is, where it's a winnable division.
NFC North, right?
Yeah, NFC North, where basically the Minnesota Vikings were the division champions.
Yeah,
so
Minnesota, Detroit,
Chicago and Green Bay.
And Green Bay, okay.
And you know, Aaron Rodgers is gone.
Winnable division.
Aaron Rodgers is gone. We know about the Bears. They've been bad forever. So it's maybe the taking for the Lions. Can you see the Lions winning a division?
Possibly. But I can make an argument for Minnesota too. So possibly, quite possibly.
Yeah. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Remember Jackson Mahomes?
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Well, Jackson Mahomes, his issues with the sexual assault case with a restaurant owner, it gets even worse. That is Aspen Vaughn has to close down her restaurant because of people are vandalizing, and she's lost over 75% of her profits due to this case, saying that, you know, people have cut her gas line, cut the electrical, you know, that costs a lot of money to get fixed. So,
yeah.
It seems like
not that
it is Jackson Mahomes fans. You know, he's like this TikTok star or whatever. Like his fans or some people are targeting her restaurant, and it seems like, you know, if this is the case and if she and her legal team can prove it, it's going to be a huge lawsuit and possibly jail time for this man. I mean, I don't know how we get here when it comes to society and how it gets. I don't understand it. He's not the superstar athlete his brother is.
No, he's not.
And how does he get himself in a situation believing himself as a superstar?
I don't know. All I know is the sexual assault or sexual harassment. It's not cool. It's not cool. You know, we was always taught to keep your hands to yourself. Just move on. Now he allegedly did this, so he hasn't been charged with a crime. But for people to target her business, that's her livelihood, y'all. Let it go. Stop.
Yeah.
That's her livelihood.
Yeah.
I don't know if she has children or anything, but let's just say hypothetically she does. That's how she feeds her family. Come on, y'all.
Exactly.
Come on.
And it seems like they've had, you know, a prior history as his family knows her family, knows her stepdaughter, and it's kind of a weird situation. You know, maybe most likely alcohol is involved.
Yeah.
But, you know, this goes to trial and he's proven guilty, he can face some time. Probably at least 2 to 3 years in jail for sexual assault. And then, you know, obviously the lawsuit's gonna come.
Yeah.
And with damages to her business and having her to shut down the business, yeah, it's gonna be bad news.
Yeah, bad news because you gotta compensate because that's how she gets paid. So you have to compensate her. It could get ugly. They're probably gonna settle out of court, but it could get ugly.
Exactly, and I just want to shout out this one right here, another NFL story I just missed out. NFL, they're considering another rule change, the XFL style kickoff. If anybody remembers that, it was kind of like the offense, the kicker, you know how the kickoff is where the line is kind of, about 20 to 25 yards from each other, from the offense and the defense?
Yeah.
And the defense is coming to run, you know, the defense running after the kicker, offense running after the kickoff returner. Well, in the XFL, it's very close. They're like 5 yards apart or 10 yards apart. And it's a very short kick. And it looks, if you see it, it looks a lot safer.
Yeah, because you don't have a full head of speed.
Right, it's not a full head of steam. It's not like you're running 30 yards and then there's there's that wall.
Yeah, the wedge.
The wedge that comes and not just the other players getting injured and whatnot, but it what do you think about that change?
I like it because you don't get it when you're running. You don't have a full head of steam, and so the collision it ultimately it saves you from concussions and other injuries. So the collision isn't as bad. I mean, I believe they should try it out either preseason this year or next year, whenever they want to do it. They try it out, see how it works.
Yeah, I would think next season they should try it out.
Yeah, next season. Yeah.
To see how it goes. Oh, here we go. And one last thing, I just want to congratulate the 9 Hall of Famers that's going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame
who are they?
Next week. August 5th in Canton, Ohio, you have Rondé Barber, cornerback, formerly of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Coach Don Correll, linebacker Chuck Howley, defensive end Joe Klecko, cornerback Darrelle Revis of the Jets, cornerback Ken Riley, offensive tackle Joe Thomas, and linebacker Zach Thomas, and linebacker DeMarcus Ware.
Yeah.
And those are your
congratulations to them.
Enshrinement. The Hall of Famers are going to be enshrined, and the ceremony is on August 5th in Canton, Ohio. Congratulations to those great players. What player do you are most fond about?
Out of them, Revis.
Yeah.
Yeah, Revis.
Me too.
Revis Island. I remember that when he was in his prime. I mean, his absolute prime, when he was just shutting down half the field and everything. Now, I know he was no Deion Sanders or anything but who is? You know, what D-back is.
I think he may be the second best defensive back of all time.
Maybe because Deion does applaud his accolades and everything. So So I just remember him being on the. I remember he was on one side, and who was the other corner? It was
Antonio Cromartie.
Cromartie, thank you. Antonio Cromartie was the other corner, who was no slouch.
Yeah.
So he shut it down too. That's when those Rex Ryan defenses. They got them to 2 AFC Championship games.
You're right.
And I believe they were a quarterback away.
Exactly.
A quarterback away.
Like always.
Like,
hey, remember, Cromartie's number 17? That's as many kids he has. And we'll be back with more Keep It 1 Million Show.
I forgot he had a lot of kids. He had a brother. He had a brother or a cousin that played too, didn't he?
I think so.
Cromartie, yeah. But that defense. Because I mean, they had Bart Scott.
Oh yeah.
Bart Scott, man, that defense.
Woo! It really was.
Like I said, one quarterback away.
Hey, so remember we were talking about the NCAA and all that.
The gambling, yeah.
No, not the gambling. The realignment and all that.
The realignment.
Look, this one just came out right now, 10:21 Eastern. Arizona deal with Big 12 expected to be finalized.
Okay.
Just came out right now. This article.
U of A.
Yeah, U of A, Tucson. Yeah. So I'm gonna bring this up in the next, and then we'll talk about that and get into that. If I have the time in this segment, either get into the style of Dibley's because what just happened today too. Just now, Diane Taurasi hit her 10,000 point.
Oh, she did?
Yeah.
Okay.
10,000 points.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. I always liked Taurasi. Even when she was in college, I liked Taurasi.
Yeah. I'm gonna come back right now.
Yeah.
And we're back. Keep 1 Million Show. I'm Dwayne.
Sean B.
And you can find us on all social media platforms. Look us up on YouTube and Instagram as well. And we was talking about the NFL, but we're going to get into some college sports as the NCAA is in quite a pickle when it comes to what's going on with these realignments. USC and UCLA is moving to the Big Ten in 2024. Texas and Oklahoma is moving to the SEC in 2024. And now this past week, the Pac-12 is being poached right now as we speak as Oregon, Washington, Stanford, and Cal, maybe most likely, I would say, an 80% chance they're moving on to the Big Ten. This past week, the Pac-12 president has came out and presented a media deal with Apple TV, Apple Plus, I think it's called now, to a chagrin because without your top schools in the Pac-12, who's going to watch? Namely, your top schools being UCLA and USC. So with that being said, you know, what else is going to happen with these other schools? Utah, Arizona State, Washington State, Oregon State. Yeah. And from the looks of it, I just seen in the past hour, this is being reported by ESPN.com. U of A is in deep discussions to join the Big 12. Sources told ESPN with the deal expected to be finalized in the near future. The school is amid final steps, sources said, including detailing the move in an Arizona Board of Regents meeting Thursday night. Big 12 presidents and CEOs met Thursday to vote on approving the move. Sources confirmed ESPN. Another sign of likelihood of this happening. Barring an unexpected turn of Board of Regents meeting, Arizona's decision is expected to be formalized soon. Arizona will be the second Pac-12 school to leave the Big 12 in this past week, as Colorado announced last week that it is heading to the league. Expect the move would reduce the Pac-12 to just 8 schools, and emerging the same day that the Big 12 president and chancellors authorized Commissioner Tony Petitti to formally explore adding Pac-12 members Oregon and Washington. So, with that being said, now the NCAA says you can't be a conference with less than 6 schools.
Okay.
Now, if Arizona goes to the Big 12, I would think ASU would go to the Big 12 as well, to keep that territorial cup going.
Yeah.
I would also think Stanford and Cal may go to the Big 10 if Washington and Oregon goes to the Big 10. This is all about revenue sharing. And there's not enough money for these schools in the Pac-12. Their first Pac-12 media deal went up in smoke. They can't find another media rights deal, and then this Apple TV deal is kind of lukewarm. So, I mean, how do you see this playing out?
This is bad. This is bad. It's not looking good. Like you said earlier in the last hour, you said that I think some of the teams might end up going to the Mountain West. And so it's Pac-12. Man, all that tradition might just disappear. It's just going to dissolve. I mean, it'll still probably be a Rose Bowl, but it won't be the Rose Bowl as we know it. So
yeah, that's true. Kind of a sad story if you're a Pac-12 fan. If you're used to, those midnight games, those after dark, Pac-12 after dark, and and it's not even talking about the Olympic Olympic sports. We're not even talking about college basketball, which has its own realignment going on.
Yeah.
And this is about money. This is about it's going to be eventually super conferences. Also, Florida State. They're looking to possibly leave the ACC. They're not happy with their deal, and North Carolina's president came out against that. So it's a whole lot of things going on at the same time when it comes to NCAA. And like I've always said, in a couple of years, we're not even going to recognize college football from once it was 5-10 years ago.
You ain't lying.
And we're going with some WNBA news that was kind of eye-opening for me. I'm not in the WNBA like that, but Skylar Diggins-Smith of the Mercury has talked about she's not able to get into the facility to use the chiropractor, the massage therapist. They said they didn't tell her happy birthday. Now, if you guys don't know, she's on maternity leave. She just had a child this past spring. And, per WBA's most recent collective bargaining agreement, Phoenix must pay Diggins-Smith full salary while she's on maternity leave. She posts on social media. She has no access to massage therapist, chiropractor, chef, strength and conditioning, nutritionist, etc. That every other player has access to. However, she's down 48 pounds on her own, and quote, "I'm feeling great." How do you feel about this situation? It looks like a dicey situation between her and the organization.
Yeah, it's real dicey. You would think they would take care of her. It's just real unfortunate because this leaves This leaves a bad taste in a woman's mouth. Trust me, I have a wife. I have an ex-wife, and I know plenty of women that things have happened to them while they were pregnant, and or after they had the baby, and it always leaves a bad taste in their mouth. They're angry about it. They feel like they were wrong, and some women hold on to it. And
Right.
and I'm not going to tell a woman not to hold on to something or anything like that. But being a man, I don't like to speak on like after pregnancies because I will never know what that's like to be pregnant or to give birth and after pregnancy, postpartum and all that. I don't know what that's. I'll never know what that's like. So I just would like to see that the organization just kind of figure this out and make it better. Just make it better.
Because it's public now.
Yeah,
It's kind of a black eye on the Phoenix Mercury. And unfortunately, here in Arizona, it's kind of going with state law. So it's very bad when it comes to maternity leave and things of that nature per state law with, employees being, and I've heard some really horrible stories where women was fired after giving birth, thinking they, being on maternity leave, didn't come back to work when they, not saying they were supposed to come back and work on a certain time frame, but, was being let go from their job because of that. Another thing about this situation is she's had issue with Diana Taurasi, who is their superstar athlete, their superstar player, who just made 10,000 points on Thursday night, which is the top of the league. She's number one in points of all time.
Yeah, Taurasi, she's a beast.
Right. So I think that also comes into play in the back of their minds, the organization, that she has a little issue with Diana Taurasi. She hasn't played since last season, and she may. I can see it happening where she gets traded or let go from the team, and with that, there's going to be an issue. There's going to be a possible lawsuit happening, or arbitration with that going on, because she's in her last year of her contract. So, hopefully it gets resolved. And lastly, we have to say a special rest in peace to Paul Robeson, aka Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah.
If you are a Gen Xer like me and Sean are, Pee Wee Herman's Playhouse and Pee Wee Herman movies were a staple.
Pee Wee Herman's Big Adventure,
right? I saw that. He was 70 years old. Passed away from cancer. Private fight with cancer he's had. The memories. I kind of forgot about Pee Wee Herman. When I seen that, I just kicked all kinds of memories when I was a child.
Yeah, man.
One more thing.
Yeah.
You remember that dinosaur in the movie?
Mm-hmm.
The owners of that dinosaur painted the dinosaur in that suit.
Oh yeah.
The gray suit with the red bow tie. Yeah, that was real cool.
Yeah, man. Growing up, all right, look, I understood that Pee Wee Herman was corny acting and everything, but he was still funny though. It just was something different and everything. And I did some research on it. Believe it or not, Pee Wee Herman, Paul Rubens, who helped him create that character?
Who's that?
Phil Hartman.
Right, he was on the. Oh, here I seen the video.
Yeah.
Where it was him and Phil Hartman. Phil Hartman was in a pirate.
Yeah, piracy.
Suit, and how they were talking. If you close your eyes, you would think that was SpongeBob. It was like, wow, did that start SpongeBob, right? And if you realize a lot of not just comedy but children's programming came from Pee Wee Herman's Playhouse.
Yeah. The way it was produced,
right?
They put a lot of money into a Saturday morning
It's like a variety show.
Variety show for children,
You know, right?
And it made a lot of money. And his contract, it said that if he went out publicly, he had to go out publicly as Pee Wee Herman. You know, it was real big, and you know, it was unfortunate he had some stuff with you know, with the movie theater, the pornographic movie theater and stuff like that. He had some stuff with that, but
Yeah.
but
he made fun of it though.
He made fun of it on the MTV Movie Awards.
Right.
He said, heard any good jokes lately? He said, yeah, it's so funny I forgot to laugh. You know, like, so you know, he made light of it, and but he was actually a really good actor too, because he was in Blow. He was also in Batman Returns as the Penguin's father, but he also did a recurring of that character in Gotham. And he was, yeah, in Gotham, and he was the Penguin's father in Gotham. So he did a lot of things after that, and his private battle with cancer is like, because when I was like, man, he was 70. Like it reminded me of Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah.
Like how it was private with him, and how they care, how it showed you how you can keep things private, y'all. You can keep things private.
And he was also in a lot of Saturday Night Live.
Saturday Night Live, WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Yeah. He also did some voiceover work as well.
Yeah. Yeah, he was a staple in the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
And as a child, if you were a child in the 80s, you watched Pee Wee Herman. You know.
Hey, you even remember the rap song that Josie Love did?
I mean, very, very special person, very special actor, and rest in peace to him.
Yeah.
And condolences to his family.
Yes.
One last thing before we go, people, please look up this article about Lizzo. She's now a lawsuit against her, and when you read the story, it's gonna blow your mind. I would say irony is not enough to say, and not an adjective enough to say about what happened with the situation. The lawsuit against it's her dancers are against her and her production company, and the captain of the dance team.
Okay.
Fat shaming, a lot of explicit things that I can't say here on the air.
FCC airwaves.
Exactly. I may get into it next week, but please look up that story. It's on all outlets: CNN, New York Post, LA Times, all over the country. The lawsuit was filed a couple weeks ago out of Los Angeles. So lawsuits are public record. You can even go look at the lawsuit itself against Lizzo. And if you read what the story is, she may not recover. Have you read it yet?
No, not yet. I'm going to read it.
Yeah, you have to. It's very explicit.
Okay.
I mean, it's the opposite of who you think she is. That's all I'm going to say.
All right. I'll check it out.
And with that being said, I'm Dwayne.
Sean P.
It's the Keep 1 Million show. Please keep locked right here every Thursday from 7 to 9 p.m. on YouTube. Keep 1 Million on Instagram. The Keep 1 Million show. And we'll be here every week, Thursdays, 7 to 9 p.m., talking sports and other topics that is not covered in mainstream media. With that being said, we're out.
Deuce.
To the growth and success of Arizona's locally owned businesses.
All right, thanks everybody for watching.
Yep, thanks y'all.
And locally owned
Thanks
businesses
y'all.
through events and services that
Please like and share.